We're basically introducing lionfish and bake to Trinidad and Tobago. We caught some lionfish in Tobago, brought it over to Trinidad, had it prepared, and Richard has now agreed to
It's
fry.
not about growing to love somebody. It's either it's there or not. We went on our first date and it hasn't ended yet.
It's really nice to feel this. This is really special.
And trust me, the talk is juicy. The three personalities together and the fourth surprise person, talk is going to be juicy.
When Richard talks, Gigi listens.
I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I wouldn't call myself that because in order to be a filmmaker, even though I've made a couple films, I'm talking about real film, like real film where you cut A and B rolls and what have you. I won't call myself a filmmaker because I think one has to have a respected corpus of work by your peers before you can be. A lot of people graduate from university. Oh, I'm a filmmaker. Absolute garbage. You have to have a respected corpus of work, and so I worked in television. I worked for TSN for a while, which is the equivalent of ESPN, the Canadian version of ESPN called the Sports Network, which was really cool because what else does a man want than to watch sports all day? And in terms of television experience, I worked freelance, done a lot of freelance work, and then I moved into to feature films. And I've done quite a few feature films, made quite a few good friends, famous people, and then I came to Trinidad, and I think a lot of people might know me from the music I do, or the music that I did, because when I came here, the philosophy was work hard and something good will happen. And so I applied my filmmaking skills. I produce music. I've been playing music since I was about 5 years old to myself. And about the same time since she came up, and they, even though I've written about 300 songs, the Gatekeepers only ever played one. So that's full of gatekeepers and mafia, in case you didn't know.
So tell us a little bit about the gatekeepers in the mafia. Call any names?
Well, that's what come on happening semi-finals. Them is gatekeepers and mafia.
Richard talks, Gigi listens.
Right now in the Calypso Fiesta, unless you're singing what I describe as a big band Calypso, it's not Calypso, right? And when I say big band Calypso, Calypso is a thing that has never stood in isolation. It has been influenced by an influence of the musics in the world, other types of musical art forms in the world. And coming up through the big band era, people like Duke Ellington and what have you, that influenced Calypso. So that if you go and you look at a typical competition band now, it's full of people, 4 or 5 or 6, 7 frontline horns, guitar, bass, piano, and that traditional type of setup. But Calypso wasn't always that. There was a time that the violin was in the Calypso, the banjo was in the Calypso, and you don't see that anymore. Although Kurt Allen tried to reintroduce it 2, 3 or 4 years ago with one of his songs, and he still does that kind of work.
Richard talks, Gigi listens.
You know where I am? I am sitting between a rock and a hard place on a bench in the departure lounge of life, waiting for my flight.
We are on the red light district.
So I can never be in that. First of all, I don't make any. To be in that group, you have to make money from it, and I don't make any money.
So you said you were playing music since you were about 5 years old. What instruments did you start with?
Piano. My friend Angelo, who does the Virtual Museum of Trinidad and Tobago, did an interesting article today on the piano as a part of black bourgeoisie upbringing. As being it was like all the MP3 is in the home today. It was an integral part of that first sort of brown tie, jacket and tie, black middle class that first moved into Belmont and places like Newtown and Woodbrook. And yes, I am from there, so I've lived there. So that was an integral part of my life in terms of growing up, of having a piano and learning to play piano.
When Richard talks, Gigi listens.
Well, I've never really taken on the task of writing for people because my music is kind of a little bit different. I never really go with the flow. I think I've sung on every plague that bemoans Trinidad and Tobago in one way, form, fashion, or the other. And it's basically remain hidden. Could be potentially my fault. Maybe I didn't work hard enough. But I think there are a lot of factors that go into that. To this whole, you're always saying about the soca mafia and this, that. There are a lot of factors that go into whether or not you get rotation in this particular time.